My beloved child, listen to me with gentleness, for what I want to remind you of today is not only about what you put into your mouth, but also about the way you honor the life I have placed within you. From the beginning, I created a garden, a place where everything was nourished, in order, in purity, in the gentle rhythm of earth, water, light, and breath. There, humankind did not live in haste, was not driven by artificial cravings, and did not allow mixed and tainted things to fill the body until clarity became dim. The original garden was not merely a place from long ago. It is also an invitation to return to holy simplicity, where you learn again how to receive what I give as a gift. Instead of consuming your life like one swept away by the noisy calls of the world, I know this age places before you so many things wrapped in attractive colors, strong flavors, sweet advertising, and instant convenience. It makes you think that the fastest thing is the best thing, that the richest taste is the most worthy choice, that what satisfies you immediately is what you need most. But my child, not everything that delights your mouth brings peace to your body. Not every table overflowing with abundance is a table I have prepared. There are things that enter you lightly, yet leave behind a quiet burden. There are habits that seem harmless at first, but day after day make the body weary, the mind heavy, the emotions easily disturbed, and the inner life lacking the clarity needed to hear me more clearly. Because I love you, I invite you back to simple wisdom. Learn again to treasure what is pure and original. Food close to the earth, clean water that nourishes every cell, fruits and vegetables carrying the breath of the seasons, quiet seeds holding life within themselves, and herbs I placed within creation as signs of gentle care. I am not calling you into harshness, nor do I want you to turn eating and drinking into a burden of fear. I am calling you into awareness. Ask your heart, is this nourishing me, or is it only soothing me for a moment? Is this helping me become lighter, or making me heavier? Is this leading me back to life, or pulling me deeper into dependence? Understand that your body is not a trivial thing to be treated carelessly. It is the place through which you walk, serve, love, pray, work, support others, and fulfill the path I have entrusted to you. When you care for your body with gratitude, you are not worshiping it. You are honoring the gift I have given. When you choose what is pure, you are not seeking outward perfection. You are preparing a more peaceful path for your inner life. When you drink clean water, instead of constantly reaching for stimulants, when you choose nourishing meals, instead of merely chasing sensation, when you allow moderation to govern your cravings, you are practicing how to live as one who knows they belong to the light. There are quiet centers within your body that work day and night to preserve life. The blood carries nourishment everywhere. The intestines receive and discerns what should be kept, and the liver silently bears many excesses you cannot see. So these parts do not cry out like human beings, but they have their own rhythm of speech. When you place too much upon them that is unnecessary, weariness will slowly reveal itself through small signs. I want you to learn to listen before overload becomes a loud cry. Be gentle with your own body. Allow it to rest, to be cleansed, to be nourished, and to enter a less noisy rhythm of life, not through extremism, but through daily faithfulness. Remember Daniel when he lived in a foreign palace, where luxurious foods were placed before him as symbols of power and splendor. He did not despise others, nor did he display his righteousness for attention, but in his heart there was a quiet decision. He did not want anything unsuitable to stain his consecration before me. He asked to eat simple food and drink clear water, not to prove himself better than anyone, but to keep his heart in faithfulness. And over time, that choice revealed a hidden strength. Do you see? Sometimes holiness does not begin with a grand action before the crowd, but with a very small decision at the table, before the cup in your hand, before what you choose to bring into your body. When no one is watching, I am not telling you to live in tension, counting every mistake, or condemning yourself whenever you have not done what is best. I am a compassionate father, not one who keeps a record in order to accuse you at every meal. But I want you to grow in discernment. There are things you can reduce. There are things you need to lay down. There are habits you need to replace with something better. There are desires you do not need to obey, simply because they speak loudly. Freedom is not found in eating and drinking according to every impulse, but in being able to say no to what makes you heavy, and yes to what nourishes life. Begin with gentle steps. Let clean water become the companion of your new day. Let simple meals remind you that what I created already carries goodness. Let fruits, vegetables, seeds, roots, and foods close to nature return to their rightful place. Learn to give thanks before eating, not as an empty ritual, but as a way of reminding your heart that life does not exist by accident. Let slowness return to the way you eat, because those who live in haste often cannot hear what their bodies are saying. Let healing herbs become a sign that I have placed gentle things within creation to support you. But also be wise and seek proper guidance when the body needs deeper care. My beloved child, the original garden does not call you back to deprivation, but to true fullness. Fullness is not a table overflowing with things that captivate you and then leave you exhausted. Fullness is a body made light, a mind made clear, a heart made peaceful, and a life with space for me to pour clarity into. When you clear away what is excessive, you will realize that my voice does not need to compete with so much noise within you. When you choose purity little by little, you will see that discipline is not a prison, but a path toward freedom. When you return to what is close to the work of my creation, you will learn again the rhythm of life I placed in the beginning. Receive, give thanks, preserve, and bear fruit. So let today become a gentle beginning, not out of fear, but out of love. Do not care for yourself as one being forced. Care for yourself as a child to whom the Father has entrusted a precious gift. Do not despise small choices, for it is within small faithfulness that a new life is formed. I will lead you step by step, from chaos back to order, from heaviness back to lightness, from unconscious consumption back to holy gratitude. Return to the garden, my child, not only through the food you choose, but through the whole posture of your life. Simpler, purer, more attentive, more grateful there. Life will be nourished in the right way, and you will recognize that I have placed the path of restoration very near to you, within the ordinary things you once forgot. My beloved child, hear me with an upright heart. My grace is never given, so that you may continue remaining in what is destroying you. Grace is not a permit for you to compromise with darkness, and then comfort yourself by saying that I still love you. Yes, I love you with an unchanging love. Yes, my mercy is deeper than all your falls. Yes, my hand can still pull you out of the place where you thought you had sunk too far. But true love never caresses chains and calls them freedom. True mercy never lets you sleep peacefully in a house that is burning. True grace does not cover a wound so that it festers inside. It touches, cleanses, heals, and leads you out of what has drawn you away from the light. There are those who hear of grace and think they can keep choosing wrongly without changing. They speak of forgiveness, but do not want to leave the old path. They mention my love, but still cling tightly to what makes their hearts grow hardened. They want peace without surrender, restoration without correction, to be called children of light, while they're still hiding in their hands habits that belong to the night. My child, that is not an understanding of grace. It is distortion. Grace does not make sin lighter. Grace makes you strong enough to no longer be enslaved to it. Grace does not say, "Stay there." Grace says, "Rise up, I will lift you out." The enemy is very subtle, my child. It does not always come with obvious opposition. Many times it comes with words that sound gentle. God understands. Just one more time. You do not need to change right now. Everyone is weak. Do not take it so seriously. As long as you still believe, how you live does not matter. Those words wear the clothing of comfort, but inside they are ropes of bondage. It uses the very language of mercy to lull you to sleep in a dangerous place. It causes you to confuse my patience with my agreement, my waiting with silent approval, my love with the idea that I ignore everything that is causing you to decay from within, but I am a holy Father. I love you too much to call darkness light just because you want to keep it. Understand this. My mercy always opens a way for return, but true return always comes with a repentant heart. Repentance is not merely feeling sorrow because of consequences. Repentance is not merely crying because you were discovered, not merely regretting that everything collapsed, not merely speaking a few prayers in fear and then returning to the same way afterward. Repentance is a change of direction. It is seeing what is wrong in my light and no longer giving it a pleasant name. It is daring to say to me, "Father, I no longer want to protect this. I no longer want to feed this. I no longer want to negotiate with what is pulling me away from you." When you truly turn back, my grace does not stand outside, watching you fight alone. My grace enters in, lifts you, teaches you, strengthens you, and opens a way of escape. Remember the woman brought before Jesus under the heavy weight of shame. The crowd wanted to stone her, wanted to use her mistake to end the story of her life. But Jesus did not allow condemnation to have the final voice. He protected her from the cruel hands of those who only wanted punishment and knew nothing of mercy. Yet look carefully. He also did not call her old way of life harmless. He did not say that everything was insignificant. He gave her mercy, then opened before her a new path, a new life, an invitation to leave behind what was old. That is true grace. It does not crush the one who has fallen, but neither does it leave them lying in the dust. It lifts them up, covers them with compassion, and leads them into purity. Therefore, do not fear my correction. When I touch something hidden within you, it is not to shame you, but to make you free. When I remind you to let go of a habit, it is not because I want to take joy away from you, but because I see that it has disguised itself as joy while stealing your peace. When I make you no longer comfortable in what you once easily accepted, that is a sign that the light is becoming stronger within you. Do not resist that awakening. Do not quickly look for an excuse to soothe your conscience. Do not use weakness as a reason to remain forever in chains. You may be weak, but my grace is strong. You may have fallen many times, but my hand is still powerful enough to raise you up. You may not yet know where to begin, but if only you sincerely return, I will lead you step by step. I do not require you to make yourself perfect before coming near to me. I know you need me in order to be made new. I know there are battles you have lost many times, temptations you hate yet still feel pulled back toward, cycles that make you so ashamed you do not dare to pray. But my child, do not let shame push you away from me. Let it become a signal that brings you running back to me more quickly. The danger is not that you recognize your weakness. The danger is that you begin to call that weakness your destiny. The danger is not that you need forgiveness. The danger is that you want forgiveness without wanting transformation. I do not merely wipe the stain from your garment. I want to change the direction of your steps, heal the source within, and rebuild in you a life that can stand firm under the light. Remember that true freedom is not being able to do everything you want. True freedom is no longer being controlled by what is wrong. A person may laugh loudly outwardly, while inwardly being bound by secrets. A person may say they are fine, while being led by a habit they can no longer control. A person may call it personal choice, but if they cannot stop when the light calls, then it is no longer freedom. My grace comes to break those chains. My grace not only forgives the past, my grace gives strength for the present and opens a path for the future. It teaches you to say no to what once ruled over you, and yes to what brings you closer to me. So today, my child, stop using my love as a reason to delay obedience. Stop telling yourself, there is still plenty of time, when your heart has already heard the call so clearly. Stop calling compromise ordinary weakness if you know it is drawing you away from the light. I do not say this to condemn you, but to save you from a half-awake way of living, half wanting to be near me and half wanting to keep what is old. I want you whole. I want you pure. I want your heart to be light as you walk, not always hiding, always afraid, always divided within. Bring that thing before me. Call it by its true name. Lay it down at my feet. Do not hold it any longer, just because it is familiar. There are chains that have stayed so long. You thought they were part of you. But I say to you, you were created for greater freedom than that. When you truly repent, heaven does not turn its face away from you. I do not despise your trembling prayer. I do not grow tired of lifting you up, but I invite you to walk with grace, not exploit grace. Let grace become the power that lifts you out of the mire, not a curtain that hides you while you remain there. Let mercy become the door that leads you into a new life, not an excuse to return to the old room. Let my love soften you, awaken you, make you stronger and holier. For I do not only want you forgiven, I want you free. I do not only want you saved from consequences, I want you healed from the root. I do not only call you out of darkness, I call you to walk into the light. Live in the light, and become a gentle witness that true grace always transforms the one it touches. My beloved child, there are things you see with your eyes and think you have fully understood, but I see deeper than what your eyes can reach. You see a smile. I see what is hidden behind that smile. You hear a compliment. I know whether it comes from sincerity or from a motive that wants to pull you away from the path I am leading you on. You see a door opening beautifully. I see whether behind it there is peace or a hidden trap. You see a shining opportunity. I see whether it will bring you closer to me or gradually draw your heart away from the light. Therefore, when I hold you back, do not quickly think that I am delaying. When I do not allow what you long for to happen, do not quickly call it cold rejection. Many times, what you thought was loss was actually a fence of mercy. I built around your life. I know your heart sometimes struggles to understand seasons of waiting. You prayed, you hoped. You thought every sign was saying that it was about to come. And yet the door remained closed. You wondered why I was silent, why I did not answer immediately, why I let you stand before the threshold for so long. But my child, what father, seeing his child about to step into a pit, would indulge that child and let them fall? What father, knowing that the bread in his hand is poisoned, would still give it to his child, just because the child cries for it? I love you too much to give you something beautiful on the outside, but rotten within. I care for you too deeply to let you enter a place where there is laughter but no life, promises but faithfulness, false light but no true peace. There are people who come near you with gentle faces, but their hearts do not carry what is good. There are praises that sound like honey, but if you drink them in too quickly, they can make you intoxicated with self-importance. There are invitations that appear to be promotion, but they want to trade away the purity within your heart. There are relationships that at first make you feel supported, but little by little drain your strength, blur my voice, and force you to shrink the truth in order to keep acceptance. You may not recognize it immediately, because dangerous traps rarely appear in frightening forms. They often wear a likable appearance, speak pleasing words, touch the very place of lack within you, and slowly pull you away from the safety where I have placed you. Therefore, do not despise those moments when your heart feels uneasy without explanation. Do not dismiss the quiet restraint within you when you are about to step into something. Do not ignore the loss of peace simply because something seems reasonable in the eyes of others. I have many ways to preserve you, and my protection does not always come through dazzling miracles. Sometimes I protect you through a delay. Sometimes I save you through a door that does not open. Sometimes I lead you by a longer route, not because I want to weary you, but because the shorter road contains something you are not yet able to see. Sometimes I allow someone to leave, not because you are unworthy of love, but because their presence would damage what I am building within you. Remember Joseph, the one who was sold by his own brothers. In human eyes, it was a chain of injustice after injustice, betrayed, falsely accused, forgotten, imprisoned in a dark place. But I saw beyond the pit, beyond the prison, beyond each year that seemed stolen. I saw the famine ahead, saw the people who would need to be saved, saw the position Joseph had to stand in to preserve life for many. If Joseph had looked only at each painful piece separately, he might have thought he had been abandoned. But I was quietly arranging everything, even when it all looked broken. I used what others intended for harm to open a path of preservation. I was never absent in those years of delay. I was preparing, refining, and placing each stone for a greater purpose. So it is with you. The things I have not given you today may be withheld, because I see what you have not yet seen. I see the future of a decision before you taste its result. I see the heart of a person before their words have time to soften you. I see the cost of an opportunity before it is wrapped in an attractive appearance. I see the invisible cords that could bind you if you step in too quickly. And because I see, I preserve. Because I know, I intervene. Because I love, I have the right to say no to what you think is good in order to keep you for what truly belongs to me. Do not see my no as a lack of mercy. Many times it is the gentlest form of love. A timely no can save you from many years of pain. A closed door can keep you from a season of wandering. A delay can protect your heart from what you are not yet able to discern. I do not say no to make you small, but to keep you from what would make you lose yourself. I do not withhold in order to mock your hope, but so that your hope may be purified, placed rightly, anchored in me, instead of being anchored in people, circumstances, or fragile promises. At times you will see others receive what you once prayed for, and your heart will sink. You will wonder why they were allowed to enter while you still have to wait. But my child, do not measure my love for you by someone else's timeline. I do not care for my children according to one identical pattern. What is safe for one person may not be good for you. What suits their season may not yet suit yours. I know the structure within you. Know which wounds still need healing. Know which parts of you are still easily carried away by praise. Know where your heart still needs to become steadier before receiving something greater. Your waiting is not proof that you have been forgotten. It may be a sign that you are being carefully prepared. So when I close a door, trust that my hand does not tremble. When I slow something down, trust that my heart has not grown cold. When I pull you away from a place where you wanted to remain, trust that my eyes have seen what you cannot yet see. I do not need you to understand every reason immediately. I simply invite you to trust my nature. I am a compassionate father, not one who withholds blessing because he wants to hurt you. I am the shepherd who guards, not one who abandons you in the wilderness. I am the light that goes before you, not the darkness that makes you lose your way. If I restrain you, it is because there is something ahead to avoid. If I tell you to wait, it is because the time has not yet ripened. If I tell you to let go, it is because your hands must be empty to receive what is pure. Let your heart rest in my knowing. You do not need to discover every trap by yourself. You do not need to see through every smile. You do not need to read every motive of others in order to be safe. Your task is to stay near me, listen to me. Keep your heart tender before my guidance, and not try to break open the door I have locked by my mercy. I will show you when to step forward, when to stop, when to be silent, and when to leave. I will place peace as a watchman within you. I will use clarity to separate what is true from what is false. I will teach you to recognize that not everything attractive is a blessing and not everything withheld is a loss. One day, you will thank me for the things I did not allow. You will look back and understand that there were times I saved you by not answering according to your desire. You will see that the door that closed years ago was actually a wall of protection. You will see that the delay that once made you cry was the preservation that kept you from a deeper pain. You will see that my no was not an ending, but a redirection. Trust me, my beloved child. I know all things, including what you have not yet seen. I see the end of the road before you take the first step. I see the pit behind the praise, the darkness behind the false beauty, and the true blessing behind the quiet season of waiting. Let me lead you. Let me protect you. Let me love you both through the things I give and through the things I withhold. Do not be afraid when a part of the old life must lie down. Do not be afraid when the plans you once cherished can no longer continue with you. Do not be afraid when you must walk through emptiness after obeying. The cross always carries a real loss, but it does not stop at loss. Obedience always carries a real cost, but it does not end in poverty. Letting go always carries a real wound, but that wound is not a sign that you have been abandoned. It may be the mark of a transition, where I am taking from your hand what is smaller in order to prepare your heart for what is more enduring. You see only the closing, but I see the door behind it opening. You see only the stone, but I have already prepared the power to roll it away. Be patient with the days that have no answer yet. Be faithful in the hours that show no sign. Let your heart cling to me, even when every outward evidence seems to say the opposite. Resurrection does not come according to the schedule of fear. It comes according to my timing. And when I call something back to life, no power can keep it lying still. When I open a door, no darkness can lock it again. When I place new breath into what has grown dry, you will realize that the painful days were not wasted. Every tear, every choked prayer, Every time you chose to believe, though you did not understand, has been placed by me into a greater story. There will come a time when you look back at the cross of this season and no longer see only pain. You will see that there was love there, holding you back when you wanted to give up. You will see that my hand was quietly sustaining you when you thought you were collapsing. You will see there the death of pride, of wrong dependence, of the fear of being abandoned, of the things that could not go with you into new life. And you will understand. What I allowed to end was not you, but the chains that had held you for too long. What I allowed to lie down was not hope, but the illusions that had disguised themselves as hope. What I buried was not the future, but what no longer belonged to the promise I had for you. Therefore, my child, if today you are in a dark place, remain there with faith that dawn is being prepared beyond your sight. If you are carrying a heavy cross, remember that I do not let you carry it alone. If you are experiencing rejection, know that I can use that very wound to open a deeper calling. If you must sacrifice what you love, place it in my hands, for my hands never lose what belongs to life. Glory does not always come before pain. Many times it follows obedience, quietly but surely, like the sun rising after a very long night. Lift up your head, my beloved child. The cross is not the place where love failed, but the place where love triumphed in the deepest way. The tomb is not the final home of what I have anointed for life. The darkness is not the throne of your destiny. I am the Father of life, the one who calls light to step out of darkness, the one who turns sacrifice into harvest, tears into testimony, loss into a road leading to restoration. Remain in me. Trust me through the painful Friday, through the silent Saturday. For your resurrection day will come at the time I have appointed, and when it comes, you will know that no cross placed into my hands ever ends in despair.